Canyon? How would you describe El Dorado? What was he looking for? What was it like, Alexander?
What? Oh my gosh.
I can hear you.
You can? Can you hear me?
Yes.
If you can hear me, okay. So,
I think there's a delay. I hope it's not the rain. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, don't worry. Yeah. El Dorado. I can't remember the name. El Dorado is like the city of gold where you can pretty much live a paradise. And they also said El Dorado moved all the time. Every time they think they found it, it's like, nope, not there. So they would look at a different place. They would say it moved.
Very good, Alexander. Does anybody have any other things they would add on? What else did it describe El Dorado as? Yes, Rishith?
He found the Grand Canyon.
That's right. He found the Grand Canyon instead when he was looking for El Dorado. It was also described as like glowing as if it was a second sunset. Do you guys remember that? And the people out in the streets, what were they doing? Samhita, do you remember?
Dancing. Literally dancing and singing. And there was literally no worries, no sickness. That would be paradise. And
That's right.
Then we wouldn't have to go through this coronavirus.
That's exactly right. No coronavirus in El Dorado. I can assure you of that. There was dancing and singing in the streets, no worries. It makes me think of Hakuna Matata. Means no worries.
That's not fair. No coronavirus.
Yep, no coronavirus in El Dorado. I'm sure of that. They definitely said no sickness. That was even part of it too.
Okay,
Ty, you want to add on to that?
No, but I was able to make this picture while you were talking about that. Here's Coronado and other people, and here's the Grand Canyon, and he's just saying, "Wow, okay, move on."
Yep, that's how I imagine his responses. Josiah, can you add on?
So the chief was dressed very good stuff like in jewelry and all silver and gold.
Yep.
And if maybe
gemstones would just fall from his fingers as he walked. That was a very good point as well, Josiah. I thought that was interesting. So you are going to take notes on El Dorado and Coronado today, and there is a little map that would be great to print off if you can. In science, you learned about pitch and volume. And today you're going to hear about absorption and reflection. We saw some things about absorbing light and reflecting light. Well, sound can also absorb or reflect those sound waves. You're going to hear about that today. Could I hear some thoughts on pitch and volume, what you learned about that? Emma, can you tell us what you learned about pitch and volume yesterday?
I wanted to say I know why coronavirus was named that.
Oh, okay.
Because in Spanish, corona means crown, and spikes on the coronavirus looks like the spikes on the crown.
Very interesting, Emma. Yeah, if you see pictures of that virus, it does look very spiky. Alexander, can you tell us what you learned about sound?
Sure. So there's this little high pitch and low pitch. There's different sound waves for it. Some of them can go like this, or they can go like this.
Yeah, high pitch means high frequency. There's going to be a bunch of little waves. And low pitch is drawn out low. Think of someone who's like really energetic, running around all the time.
Mom's friends.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's me, actually. That's me. So one of my mom's friends had a baby November 2nd, and I got to meet him for the first time yesterday.
That's so exciting. I bet he's adorable. Okay, so you're going to hear about absorption and reflection in your lesson today. Did you know that some materials absorb sound and others reflect sound? How many of you have some carpeted floors at home? Even a single room that has carpet. Now, when you walk on the carpeted floors, does your footsteps sound quieter than if you walk on tile or wood floors? Yeah, that's because carpet absorbs the sound, and so your footsteps sound quite a bit quieter. So you're going to hear about that, and then also hear about how with reflection, you can actually, that's how echoes occur. Echoes are sound reflected back to you. And there are some scientists who use echolocation or sonar to determine how far away something is through echo. So you'll hear about that today. And finally, you're going to be reading a new chapter in Farmer Boy. Today's chapter is called The Strange Dog. And in yesterday's chapter, you heard that there was going to be maybe a horse fire coming to town, a New York horse fire. Well, that horse fire is coming in town for this chapter, and you'll see what happens with that horse fire. He's a mysterious man with a pointy mustache and dark hair, a pointy nose, and he is kind of a suspicious man, I would say, this horse fire. And the title of the chapter is The Strange Dog. So you'll see what happens with that strange dog in the chapter as well. Okay, that is all for your assignments that you'll have on Bright Thinker. Kruthi, would you like to lead us in the pledge and school motto?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor. I will honor those things which are good, true, and beautiful. Respect. I will show respect for others at all times. Service. I will do good things for others without being asked. Excellence. I will strive for excellence in all things. Perseverance. I will fulfill commitments and not give up on without discouraging.
Okay, join me for a moment of silence, please. Okay, boys and girls, well, let's get started on some phonogram and spelling review. We have a quiz coming up tomorrow, so we'll go over some words that are going to be on that quiz. But first, let's write the phonograms that make the sound A. Can someone tell me a phonogram that makes the sound A? Ariansh?
A 4-letter A.
Very good. Everyone, please write A, 4-letter A. Hold it up as soon as you're done. Alexander and Alina, I'll get to use for some other examples of phonograms that make the sound A. Okay, Alina, could you give us another one? Here's A for letter A. For the sake of time, boys and girls, let's write just the phonogram, not a word that uses it, even though that is a really good practice. Just write the phonogram only. Alina, can you give us another one?
A to letter A that we do use at the end of English words.
Good. Let's write A to letter A that we do use at the end of English words like hay. Hay that horses would eat. And then you can also write A to letter A that we do not use at the end of English words. Like pain would be an example of that one. Very good. A to letter A that we do use at the end of English words, and A to letter A that we do not. Tig, please hold up your phonogram after each one. It looks like maybe it's so close I can't see it. Can you try to point it at the camera? No, not very well, unfortunately. Okay, Alexander, do you have another for us? And then I'll get to Emma. It looks like she has one too.
E-A-A.
Oh, that was Emma's. Oh no. Okay, E-A makes the sound A. Emma, can you still think of another one? Here's E-A. What can make the sound hey? Emma, what single letter phonogram makes the sound A?
A.
A-A-aw, you got it.
A.
A-A-aw also makes the sound A. And I could think of at least two more. Samhita, can you think of another phonogram that makes the sound A?
A was mine.
Oh, I'll give it to you in a word. Hey, like hello, hey. Dikshita, can you think of it?
Is it A-E or I have no idea.
That's right, Samhita.
I'm thinking A-U.
Oh, good guess. But no, that one doesn't make an A sound. It only says aw. So for the last two, I want you to write A-E that we do use at the end of English words and A-E that we do not use at the end of English words. They should look like this. Okay, I think that covers all of them. All the phonograms that make the sound A. Let's move on to some spelling words. Would you all write earnest? Do you remember how we think to spell this word? Kruthi?
Earnest.
Earnest, that's right. Think of like, I earnestly have a nest in my ear. Earnest. I think it was maybe someone in this class who mentioned like Ernest Hemingway. As the name, we would drop the A. Was that you, Tig? Yep, that was good. Ernest. Our next word is kind of a tricky one. Miscellaneous. We're going to have that same adjective suffix, the OUS suffix. And do you remember what we use for this sound, Alexander?
SC.
Very good.
As in science.
Yeah.
And there's also Mr. Jackson in number 4. There's a dog named Mrs. Elanius.
Oh, that's cute. That could help you remember it, definitely. Hey, boys and girls, make sure you really sound it out as you write. Miscellaneous. Miscellaneous. Remember, when you hear that us sound at the end of a word, you should be thinking of the OUS spelling pattern for adjectives. Miscellaneous. So far, I don't see anybody with quite the right spelling yet. This is a tough one. Oh, wait, actually, let me pin Arshab. I think Arshab might be the first. Oh, not quite. Miscellaneous. Nobody's quite got it. Let me see if anybody can get it. Oh, Aryansh, I think you know it. Yes, Aryansh got it. He was the first to get it spelled correctly. A lot of people I see wrote an I-E for this one, but it should be E. It's a lanius. And then I saw some people forgot to double the L. Okay, check that your spelling matches mine, and let's give Aryansh a hand. That was a tough word, and you were the only one in the class to get that right. And everybody else, don't give yourself a hard time over it. This is a really tough one. So that's why we need lots of practice for it. Miscellaneous. Check that yours matches mine. Okay, next one, vague. And also write vaguely. Vague and vaguely. Vague and vaguely. Excellent. Great job for all of you who remembered the U there. The U keeps the G from saying its second sound. Vague. If you didn't have the U there, it would say vague. Yes, Alexander?
So the tests where we go to school, when are those going to be? Like,
I
where we
don't have the
actually
dates
go to
yet.
school?
I don't have the dates yet. As soon as I do, I'll give it to your parents. I'll let them know. Okay, next word, please write guarantee. Alexander, again, I don't have the dates yet, so when I do, I'll get it to you. And until then, I can't really answer questions based off of it since I don't have the specific time.
Okay.
Okay, guarantee. Let's write that one next. Tig, you are so close. Guarantee is the way we think to spell it. Great job. Kruti got it right. First one to get it right up there. And Ty, excellent. Now you got it right. Guarantee. Great work. Arshab, that's correct. Excellent job, Samhita. Josiah and Harika, I'm afraid I can't really see those since they're so far away. I can only see them when I pin yours. Marcus, you should be writing these. Guaranteed. We have the G, two-letter G. Make sure you have G, two-letter G. And Emma, a lot of times we do use the letter Y at the end of a word, but this one's kind of unusual. We're going to use the E-double-E. But most of the time, we would use the Y at the end of a word for that sound E. Okay, next up, let's write incessant. This will be the last one for review. Incessant is the way we think to spell it. Incessant, we think to spell incessant. Marcus, hold up your words. I need to see that you're writing all of these. Great job, Aryansh. Dikshita, Kruti. Great job, Marcus. Thank you so much. Okay, check that your spelling matches mine. I see quite a few mistakes. That's okay, because once again, these are some tough ones. Incessant, the first is a K, and then the second is from two S's, double S. Great job, Aryansh. You got it right. Arshab, excellent. You got it right as well. Incessant. Okay, boys and girls, that's all for review. Now, a lot of you are having a hard time with these words, it seems, because these are much harder than our usual words. We've got a bunch of words on this list that are tough. I would recommend, if you missed more than one or two of the words today, do a little review on your whiteboard after class. You can take a look at your orthography notebook and review that way. The lessons that you would want to review are, just a moment, it would be 73 through 80. So you should have all of the words written in your orthography notebook, and you could take a look at the pages 73 through 80 in your orthography notebook, and especially with ones that you've had a hard time with. If you had a hard time with miscellaneous, for example, then you've got the word correctly in your notebook and just practice writing it a few times on your whiteboard, okay? So if you got several wrong, I would recommend doing that. Even though it's just a quiz tomorrow, this is a harder list than we usually have, okay? Well, let's start on a new spelling lesson. Can you all take out your whiteboard and marker? And please hold up your binder and pencil when you are ready to go for our new lesson. I should see your binder and pencil. Excellent. Alina, Arshab, Alexander, Josiah, and Harika are ready. Samhita, excellent. Thank you so much, Marcus and Rishith. A lot of people ready to begin. It looks like I might be waiting for Aryansh and Tig. There's Arianch. Marcus, you are ready to go in a good ready position. Kruthi's in an excellent ready position as
When
well.
I put crackers on a box, it just cracked the box in half.
Oh no. Okay, boys and girls, looks like we are about ready to begin. Our first word is going to come from a word from yesterday. Yesterday's word was persist. You guys remember persist? Like to keep going, kind of like persevere. What makes the sound in persist? Kruthi?
Earlier of her.
Perfect. Now that word was a verb. To turn it into a noun, we're going to say persistence. Kind of like there's persevere and then perseverance. Okay, so we're going to add ence to the end of this. So persistence. So 3 syllables. The third syllable has the sounds e, n, s. And what's going to make the s sound in this word? Persistence. Arianch? Good. Saying its second sound because it's followed by a silent final E. Pick up your pencil, please, and write persistence. Hopefully, it's becoming easier and easier to recognize when you hear ints or ants at the end of a word that we've got that spelling pattern of E-N-C-E or A-N-C-E. Is that starting to become fast for a lot of you when you hear that ints or ants at the end? Great job, Alina. Thanks so much, Arianch, for holding it up when you're done. Samhita and Alina. I love seeing how you write it before we go over the correct spelling. Looks like I might be waiting for Emma, Rishith, Marcus, Sahanasri, and Harika. Okay, excellent. Let's go over the correct spelling. Per, syllable break. Sist, syllable break. Ns, silent final E. Persistence. It looks like some people wrote persistence, but it should be persistence. So make sure that you cross it out and rewrite it if you have any mistakes. Excellent job for those who got it right the first time. Josiah, would you mark the word for us?
You have to underline the of her,
Mm-hmm.
and then you think about the E.
Persistence. Yeah, it does kind of say an I sound. I think that we would thinking cap that.
double underline E, stop number 3, and kiss is making it second sound.
Perfect. Well done, Josiah. Okay, this is a noun. Okay, our next word is triumph. Would you all say triumph? Oh, Samhita's showing kind of triumph, throwing up her arms. Maybe that was just a stretch, but I was taking that as like, whoa, I am triumphant. What does that mean? Samhita?
Well, it's actually kind of like you're celebrating your victory. If you win something, you're like, I don't know how to pronounce it, like saying, I don't know how to explain it, but you're just like celebrating your victory.
I love that. Yeah, victory is a word that comes to my mind too. Triumph is a noun or verb depending on the sentence, but it's like maybe there was a triumph when the American team won in the Olympics for gymnastics. Triumph. That's a big celebration. It's a victory. Or triumph when Emma's sister won her tennis championship. It's a victory. So triumph. Can you all say it with me? Triumph. 2 syllables. That umph syllable is fun to say. T, I are the sounds in the first syllable with I in an open syllable saying its name. The next syllable has a, f, 3 sounds. Do you know what makes the f sound in that word? Yes, Alina?
Like the F in phone, like the F in phone. How do you say it again?
2-letter f.
Yeah, that one.
You got it. Everyone, please pick up your pencil to write triumph. We're going to use that Greek phonogram, that f, 2-letter f. And once we're done writing it, Sahanasri, would you help us mark it? T, I, syllable break, f, triumph. Sahanasri, would you mark the word for us?
Okay. Underline the I.
Excellent.
And underline the.
Very good. And that's all.
And it's a noun.
Very good. Or sometimes it's a verb. We'll put that in there too. Like he triumphed over his opponent means that he had victory over him, basically. Thank you, Sahanasri. Okay. Our next word is one that's very commonly misspelled. So this is a good one to include in a spelling lesson. It's not that tough, but a lot of people just misspell it. The word is privilege. Would you all say privilege? Like, maybe Tig, being the oldest in the family, or of his siblings, has the privilege of riding in the front seat. Or maybe you're not old enough for that yet, but eventually you will.
I'm not in the front. I actually sit in the very back.
Okay, well, maybe at some point there would be certain privileges for being the oldest.
Two or three more years so I can do that, yes.
Okay. Samhita, you're the oldest in your family too. Are there privileges for being the oldest in your family, things you get to do that your sisters can't do since they're not old enough yet?
I get to go to a lot of classes.
Nice.
So I get to go to art class, chess class, music class.
Good. So there are certain good things that you can do because you're old enough to do them. Kruthi, what about you? You're also the oldest in your family.
Stay up late and watch a movie late.
Yeah.
in the night.
Yeah, I bet you can stay up a little later than your brother. That makes sense. Ariane, you're the oldest, so there's definitely things you can do instead of your baby brother.
I'm the middle sister.
Yeah, but he really sometimes sleeps after I sleep. So he sleeps
Yeah.
at like 11.
Babies
So
have
I'm
kind of
supposed
different
to-
schedules.
Yeah, I mean it depends. So he can do stuff that I can't do either. It's because he can wake up every time in the day. He doesn't even have school too. So
That's right. Yeah, he's just a baby, so he definitely has that privilege of no work because he's just a baby. Okay, so privilege is like in some way a good thing that happens to you. Okay, so privilege is the way we think to spell this. Okay, it's really important to keep our think to spell in mind. Privilege, 3 syllables. Privilege. First syllable, p, I, 3 sounds with I-E there. Next syllable, I, 2 sounds. Privilege, also just I-E. Next, j, 3 sounds. Now, j will say its second sound because of a silent final E, job 2. I mean 3 with j. Okay, so privilege. All of these are single letter phonograms. We don't have any 2-letter phonograms here. Pick up your pencil and write privilege. Privilege. And hold it up when you're done. One of the reasons why people get confused with this word is because we a lot of times kind of shorten it from 3 syllables to 2. We say privilege. So we're going to mark it actually according to that pronunciation. Aryansh?
can I mark the word?
Yep, I'd love for you to do that. Okay, looks like we might be waiting for still a couple more people. Everyone show me your word when you're done writing it. Privilege. Rishith, hold it up when you're done, please. Harika, Arshad, Marcus, Josiah. Privilege. Okay, so privilege. I, syllable break. I, syllable break. J, silent final E. Check that your spelling matches mine. A lot of people end up using the 3-letter J here, but it's just J, silent final E. Aryansh, would you mark it? We pronounce it privilege.
So the first syllable is basic code.
Good.
The second syllable is also basic code.
Correct. Other than we are going to end up double underlining this because when we pronounce it, privilege, that ends up being silent. Oh, and actually, you know what? I'm very sorry, boys and girls. I'm going to rewrite this actually. We want the in this first syllable so that it's really clear that this ends up being like a silent syllable. This whole thing ends up being silent the way we say it. Okay, so privilege. And then this IE, this whole syllable ends up being silent.
In the third syllable, thinking cap the first E.
Good.
Double
Yeah, it says kind of an
underline the
I
second
sound.
E.
Perfect.
Job number 1 and 2.
I'd say it's just job 3. 3 is for the C and G saying its second sound.
Oh, right.
I misspoke earlier when I said 2.
I meant, sorry, 1 and 3, sorry.
Okay, and then let's put a 2 on top of J. Now, what part of speech do you think this is, Aryansh? Like, you have the privilege of doing
adjective.
virtual school.
An adjective.
It's going to be a noun, actually. The way that we make it an adjective is kind of similar. We'll say like privileged, actually, make it like past tense. And then that describes somebody who has a lot of good things. Okay, our last word for today's lesson is tranquil. Can you all say tranquil? Tranquil means calm and peaceful, resting and relaxing, tranquil. It's an adjective used to describe things that are peaceful and calm. Sound out tranquil with me. Tranquil, 2 syllables. First syllable, t, r, a, n, 4 sounds. This is actually just a, ah, strangely saying its second sound because it's kind of hard to say tranquil. It should be pronounced that way, but we end up saying tranquil. But it's just a, ah there. And second syllable, qua, ol, 3 sounds. Basic code, just 1 ol there. Please pick up your pencil and write tranquil. If it helps you, you can think of it as tranquil. Tranquil. Great job, Ty. Great job, Alexander. Okay, tranquil. T, r, a, n, qua, ol. Tranquil. I consult the manual to see how they mark the A. I would just underline it because we end up pronouncing it as A saying its name. But, oh, that's right. They do something really weird. They put a thinking cap on the end. That's really weird. Okay, I'm going to be marking it differently, though. We're just going to underline the A saying its name here because that's the way almost everybody pronounces it. Tranquil. Tranquil. Some people will say tranquil, the first sound, and that's how we pronounce it with suffixes. Like we'll see tranquility or tranquilizer. Now, over here, we've got qua, never use Q without U, and we're going to write adjective for this one. Okay. Go ahead ahead and write these in cursive, please. These are our only 4 words. Just pulling up the online dictionary to see how they did it. And they do kind of make it seem like there's an ng, tranquil. But I think that is silly. Excellent. Cursive, Alina. Persistence. Triumph. Privilege. And tranquil. Okay, boys and girls, for our cursive practice today, we're going to be grouping it with some grammar. I want us to write, well, first of all, we're going to look at some complex sentences, review how to make those. And I want us to write examples of each of the types of sentences in just a little paragraph about yourself. Give me a big thumbs up once you're done with writing these in cursive. Okay, so we're going to be looking at compound versus complex sentences today. And to better understand them, I want us to talk through conjunctions again. Do you guys remember what the fanboys are that we talked about yesterday? Who remembers them? Alexander?
Let me think. For F, A for N for, can't remember N. F.
Let me see if Arshab can help you with the rest. So that's correct. The first two are for and.
For and nor, but or yet.
Excellent.
Fanboys.
Fan boys. I want you to actually write this on your paper, and we're going to add the S in there too. Fan boys, right underneath their cursive words, or maybe some of you put your cursive words at the bottom. So this can just go right underneath your spelling words. Fan boys. The fanboys are for and nor, but, or, yet, and so. When you see these in a sentence, they're going to combine two independent clauses. Marcus, can you write the fanboys out? For and nor, but, or, yet, so. If you have a highlighter, you can even highlight the beginning letters so that it's a great way to remember each of them. For and nor, but, or, yet, so. Emma, could you say those? For and nor, but, or, yet, so.
For and nor, but or yet. So.
Good job. Harika, can you say them for us?
For and nor, but or yet so.
Perfect. Marcus, can you say them? You say for and nor, but or yet so. Marcus, please unmute yourself.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Or and nor, but or so, or yet or so.
Good. Can you try that one more time?
Or nor, but or yet so. That's
You got
that's
it.
confusing.
For and nor, but or yet so. Let me hear it one more time from Sahanasri.
For and nor, but or yet so.
You got it. Okay, and then one more from Josiah since he was so excited.
For and nor, but or yet so.
Excellent job. Okay, now these are conjunctions that we start or join two clauses in a compound sentence with. Okay, so these are the conjunctions that we'll mainly be talking about. They start an independent clause. A lot of times or not start, but join. We'll say they join independent clauses. Sorry, that's messy. We call them technically coordinating conjunctions. And we're going to be looking at other words that we call subordinating conjunctions, and they're the ones that are used in complex sentences. Okay, so they join independent clauses. So for this one, these are coordinating. So coordinating. And one more little note for these conjunctions, I'm going to say compound sentences. We use them in compound sentences. Okay, these ones are easy to memorize. And I do want you to memorize the fanboys. How many of you feel like you already have memorized the fanboys? For and nor, but or yet so. So once you've memorized these, you actually don't have to memorize the conjunctions that we're going to use in complex sentences, but it's just going to help you see, oh, if I see a fanboy, it's a compound sentence. Okay, Ty, it looks like you have memorized them. Can you say the fanboys for us?
For and nor, but or it's for and nor, but or yet so.
You got it. I see you were looking up, not at the computer. So you're definitely doing it from memory. Okay. Now, those are coordinating conjunctions. Can you all say coordinating? Coordinating conjunctions. And I do want you to memorize those fanboys. Now let's take a look at complex sentences, which remember have a dependent clause and an independent clause. And they're not going to use the fanboys. Okay, so let's go through these and identify them as complex or compound. You're not going to write any of this down right now. Okay, Arshad, would you do number 2 for us? Number 1 says the babysitter read a book and there's one of our fanboys, the children played. That's a compound sentence. Can you read number 2?
He visited his friend whenever he had time.
Would you say that's compound or complex?
Complex.
Very good. There's no fanboy joining those clauses, right? And whenever he had time, that is a dependent clause. It doesn't make sense on its own, does it? Okay, let's have Samhita do the next one, number 3. I think we'll have almost enough for everybody.
Spring is coming, so the lady put her snow shovel away. That is a compound sentence because it has one of the fanboys.
Very good. It has one of the fanboys joining 2 independent clauses. So that is compound.
And the fanboy is so.
Good job. Yeah, let's include that as well. Identify which fanboy is being used. Emma, could you do number 4 for us?
Number 4. The tulips are growing and the sun is shining.
Do you see a fanboy joining the 2 clauses?
And
Good. So does that mean it's compound or complex? Should be in your notes. It'll tell you compound or complex for the fanboys.
complex?
Nope, it's actually compound. You see, hopefully you wrote that part down as well in your notes. So underneath fanboys, those are for compound sentences, joining those clauses. Okay, Aryansh, would you do number 5 for us? Thank you, Emma.
Although you are my friend, you cannot ask me to lie.
Would you say that's compound or complex?
I think that is complex because it doesn't have one of the fanboys.
That's correct. We've got a clause here, you are my friend. Sorry. Although you are my friend, you cannot ask me to lie. That word although makes this not make sense on its own, although you are my friend. So it's a dependent clause and there's not a fanboy there. Okay, let's go ahead and skip over to number 6 now. Kruti, would you do this one for us?
We will go outside, but we won't go very far. It's a compound sentence.
Good. What's the fanboy?
But.
Very good. Okay, now Rishith. Rishith, can you tell me, is Rishith here? Nope, he's not. What happened? Okay, I'll have Josiah help with this one instead. She always washed her hands before eating dinner.
So this one is Flex.
Good. How can you tell?
Because it doesn't have one of the fanboys.
Good. But it does have another predicate there, right? Eating dinner. So that is going to be a helpful way of determining if something is compound or complex. Look for a fanboy, and if there's one of those fanboys joining a subject and verb with another subject and verb, then it's compound. If there's not a fanboy, but you have that subject verb and then another subject verb, that's complex. Okay, for the very last part of our lesson, let's just go ahead and I was going to have you write one of each, but we'll just write a couple of complex sentences. We wrote several compound yesterday. Let's just do a couple of complex sentences. For complex sentences, you can use words like because, as, since, although. And remember that you need to join two different clauses with those words. Could I have you all write a complex sentence with one of these words? These are what we call subordinating conjunctions. I want you to try writing a sentence with one of these words. Kruti, how about you give us an example?
Because it is my birthday, I will have an amazing cake.
Great. Excellent example of a complex sentence. Can anybody else think of one? That was a great one from Kruti. Tag?
Because it was very hot, I started to sweat.
Exactly. Okay, boys and girls, pick up your pencil and in cursive, write a complex sentence, please. We may only have time for one. If you're fast, you can go ahead and try a different one too. Maybe if you use because, then try although for the next one. Okay, please write a complex sentence and then we'll share some. Harika, are you there? Marcus, do you have your pencil in hand? Great. Can you write a complex sentence like the ones that they gave? Because it's hot, I started to sweat. Something like that. Harika, are you there? And then I'd love to see some of yours. If you're already done with sentence one, try another sentence with a different one of these subordinated conjunctions, okay? Now, we can have a dependent clause at the beginning of the sentence, or it can be the second clause. For example, taking Tag's example of, because it's hot, I started to sweat, we could flip those two and say, I started to sweat because it's hot.
Miss Gardner, I accidentally started to write it in print.
Okay, then write the next one in cursive. Okay. So you can write one of these at the beginning of a sentence, or it can be at the beginning of the second clause. I started to sweat because it's hot. Or because it's hot, I started to sweat. When you've got a word like because at the beginning, you need a comma to separate the clauses, kind of like we did with introductory prepositional phrases. Okay, show me your sentence. You should have at least one in cursive. Great. Okay, let's hear from a few other people. Arshab, can you share what you wrote? And then I'll call on Josiah too.
Hades didn't want to eat because he did not want to.
Oh, nice. Hades did not eat because he didn't want to. Josiah, what about you?
Because he was there, he played with us.
Can you come closer to the computer while you read it?
Right. Because he was there, he played with us. And I made another sentence.
Nice. Let's hear it.
It's although he lost his bike, he loved to ride a scooter.
Excellent. I love that. Although he lost his bike, he loved to ride his scooter. Great use of although. Both of those are really good complex sentences. Okay, let me hear from Alexander and then Tig and Aryansh. And then we're actually not going to do any roots today. We're going to jump right into math after we do orthography.
Because it was cold, I took a hot shower.
Nice. Because it was cold, I took a hot shower.
Really what I do.
Nice
This is really
example.
what I do.
I love a good hot shower when I'm cold too. Aryansh? Oh no, I said Tig first. Go ahead, Tig.
Although my family is fun, I still like to play on my own.
Oh, that's a great example. Okay, and Aryansh.
Since it was hot outside, I went out.
Nice. Since. I didn't, oh no, I did include that as one of them. Yeah, because, since, and although are all really good words that show complex sentences. Okay, boys and girls, can you take out your orthography notebook? We're going to write today's words. And Alina, did you have a good sentence you wanted to share as we transition over?
Yeah. Can I say it very quick?
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
I can put in my cursive book instead. Okay. I couldn't go to the movie theater because I was grounded.
Uh-oh. I bet that's not true, but that's a good example. Samhita?
We went to the zoo because it was warm.
Nice. Okay, boys and girls, let's write the words from today's lesson in, it should be page 58 for all of you. And we're going to sort in one place as well. Okay, page 58, who's there? Excellent job, everybody. Okay, word one was persistence. Please write persistence. Word 2 was triumph. Word 3, privilege.
Page 59.
For me, it's page 58, but maybe it's 59 for you. For me, it's the last box of 58. I think that's what it should be. Okay, and then did I say the last one, tranquil? I don't think I got to that one yet. So tranquil is the last one. We should have persistence, triumph, privilege, and tranquil. Persistence, triumph, privilege, tranquil. Okay, the place I want to sort is the synonym page, page 12, because persistence is a great synonym for one of our honor code words. Which word is it similar to from our honor code? Honor, respect, service, excellence, or perseverance. Which one is it similar to?
I'm not done with writing, but can I also answer?
Go ahead, Emma. Yep, you can keep writing and then answer. Emma, what word from our honor code is similar? Those are the words from the lesson, by the way. Which one is it close to? Honor, respect, service, excellence, or perseverance?
Perseverance, the first word.
That's right. Perseverance is what it's close to. Thank you, Ariansh. That's page 12 that we're going to write it. All right, so we'll write persistence and perseverance. They mean very similar things. Perseverance has the A-N-C-E ending, by the way. Perseverance, basically. Persistence, perseverance. Both of them mean like not giving up.
Which page? I just finished with the words.
Good. This is on page 12. And then once we're done with that, we are not going to do roots. We'll do the last two roots tomorrow instead, because we have quite a bit in math today and not much in math tomorrow. So I'd like you to take out your workbook and notebook for math as soon as you're done with this. Also, this is a great time for a stretch break, water break, snack break, whatever you need. Dance break like Marcus. Oh, Ariancha's doing a funny little dance as well. It's good to have a little dance break too.
Miss Gardner, can we dance to Conjunction Junction?
Oh, that's a fun idea. Do you want me to put it on in the background as we transition? I'll just play maybe 30 seconds of it or so, but yeah, that's a good one. Add. And now. Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Looking up words and phrases and clauses.
I'm done. Conjunction, junction, what's their function? I got and, but, and or. They'll get you pretty far. And, that's an adjective, like this and that. But, that's sort of the opposite. Not this, but that. And then there's or. O-R. When you have a choice like this or that. And, but, and or get you pretty far. Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Hooking up two boxcars and making them run right. Milk and honey, bread and butter, peas and rice. Hey, that's nice. Dirty but happy, digging and scratching, losing your shoe and a button or two. He's poor but honest, sad but true. Boo-hoo! Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Hooking up two cars to one when you say something like this. Choice.
Okay, I'll stop it there, but that's such a fun one. We'll keep definitely going back to that, just like we do our other well-ordered language jingles. I like that one better than our well-ordered language conjunction jingle. Okay, so let's start on some math. Now, first of all, how did you all feel about the pages that you did for homework yesterday? Feeling good? Excellent. Any questions about it? Okay, now who can tell me how much a kilogram is in grams? 1 kilogram equals how many grams, Harika?
1,000 grams.
1,000 grams, that's right. Kilo means 1,000. Now, I'd like actually to start off with your notebook, and then we're going to go kind of back and forth between looking at some pages in your textbook and back to the notebook. But let's write out some different important measurements for liquids. Now, in the metric system, the main way of measuring is with liters. Can you all say liters? Liters. Sounds like meters. It's L-I-T-E-R, liters. That's the way of measuring liquids. Okay? This water bottle is 1 liter, exactly. Got a measuring cup over here with a line showing 250 milliliters. For smaller liquid amounts, we use milliliters, which is like millimeter. So using what you know of millimeters, how many milliliters do you think there are in 1 liter? Milli, do you remember what that word milli means? Arianch?
1,000 millimeters make 1 liter. And then 1,000 liters make kiloliters, which doesn't make that much sense.
So we don't use that very often, but that would be correct. If you're talking about 1,000 liters of water, we would use kiloliter. That's not very often. That might be for measuring like a lake or ocean. Usually when we're talking about water measurements, we'll use liters and milliliters. Those are going to be the most common ones. And you're exactly right that since there's 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter, there's 1,000 milliliters in a liter. So let's write that. Yes, Tyke?
It's a kiloliter.
That's what I was going to say. Kilometer.
That would be a huge amount of water. Okay, time for some notes. Let's begin with our heading at the top of our page. March 11th, This is lesson 11.4. Come on, Marcus. Okay, now we're going to be writing about the metric system. We've talked about length. We've talked about weight or mass. This is for liquids. Liquid capacity, or we'll call it liquid volume. Capacity means how much liquid can fill something. Volume is for the actual amount of liquids in something. So mass is how much something weighs. Length is how long something is. Volume is how much liquid is in something. And there's just a few different things that you need to know for liquid measurement. 1 liter, we're going to abbreviate liter with a capital L, equals 1,000 milliliters. We abbreviate milliliters with a small m and a big L. I'm actually not sure why the L is capitalized for liters. It would be interesting to look up. But that's what we use always as an abbreviation. One other form of measurement that I don't think is going to come up in your workbook at all, but it is going to be in this chart, is a deciliter. Now, do you remember from our song what deci means? 1,000, kilo, 100, hecto, 10 is decameter. Yes, Arianch?
It's 1/10 of a liter.
Perfect. 1/10 of a liter. Or let me write it well, you're probably more familiar with seeing a fraction. 1/10 of a liter. 1/10, deci, 100th, centi, 1,000th is millimeter. You guys remember that song? Because that's helpful for not just meters, but liters and grams. 1,000, kilo, 100, hecto, 10 is decameter. 1/10, deci, 100th, centi, 1,000th is millimeters. Okay, so those are the only things that you'll need to know for liquid. Meters, we use a lot more different types of measurements, but most of the time, every day, you just talk about liters and milliliters. Those are the 2 words that you'll mainly use. Deciliters occasionally. Okay, so let's take a look at how to measure liquids. Do any of you have a water bottle nearby that might even have the markings for liquid? If so, that'd be great to use as a good visual. My water bottle here does not tell me how many liters or milliliters, but it does say 32 ounces. And I know that 32 ounces are the same as 1 liter or 1,000 milliliters. Some water bottles might have the milliliters and the ounces. Tig, does yours tell you milliliters?
It tells me milliliters and ounces, but the problem is we've had this water bottle for a long time, so you can't really see what the numbers are. You can only see the bottom, and I know that when it's filled up to its max capacity, it's 32 ounces.
Oh, excellent. I love the way you phrased that. Yep, to max capacity. It could be
And
32
least
ounces like this one.
capacity. And for its least capacity that it shows is 8 ounces.
Oh, very interesting. So yeah, 8 ounces would be the smallest. Emma, you've got a little Tommy Tippy cup that's your brother's, I'm assuming. That tells the milliliters. That's
Tippy.
perfect.
Tommy Tippy.
Oh, that is perfect, Emma. Okay, so having a water bottle nearby with the milliliters is going to be really helpful. Looks like Harika has that too, because if we were in class, we'd have these so that you can see hands-on what the measurements are. But since you're not in class, it's good to have some things at home so that you can see how much these liquids are. Okay, now this little boy says the liters and milliliters are units of capacity. Now, he's got a water pitcher here and a measuring cup kind of like this, although twice as big because it can go up to 1 liter. And he's filling it up and it says the measuring cup is marked in liters and milliliters. If the jug can hold up to 1 liter of water, we say the capacity of the jug is 1 liter. Capacity means how much could be there. Capacity is what's the most it could hold. Okay, that's going to be actually a vocabulary word. Let's go ahead and write that actually in our notes as well, underneath these capacity. The amount of liquid a container can hold. The amount of liquid a container can hold. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to try to find a bigger measuring cup. Here, I found it. Okay, here is a measuring cup that has a capacity of 1 liter or 1,000 milliliters. So that means the most it can hold is 1,000 milliliters or 1 liter. Thumbs up if you finish this. The capacity is the amount of liquid a container can hold. Now this little beaker here, it's a cylinder that has just a tiny bit of water. Now, what is the capacity of this cylinder? How much could it hold? Not how much is there, but how much could it hold? Sahanasri?
Huh?
What is the capacity of this cylinder? How much could it hold?
1 liter.
Good. The capacity is 1 liter, even though the amount that's actually there is a teeny tiny amount, just 10 milliliters, since there's 10 little groups of 10 in 100. So there's just a teeny tiny amount of 10, but the capacity is 1 liter. Now, volume is the amount of liquid in a container. Let's go ahead and write that too, because we're going to talk about capacity and volume quite a bit. So capacity means how much could it hold. Volume is how much is actually there. It's the amount of liquid in a container. So capacity, how much could it hold? Volume, how much is actually there? Marcus, are you writing these notes? Remember that when I start writing, you should start writing. Okay, boys and girls? As soon as I start writing, that's when you start writing. So, if you didn't finish that, by the way, it's the amount of liquid in a container. The amount of liquid in a container, volume. It's exactly what this says. Okay, now here is a container, like a vase. If we add more water, container A is completely filled with water. Then if we were to dump it in this measuring cup, we could say the capacity of this vase, because when it's filled up completely, its capacity is how much? Who can read that measuring cup for me? Aryansh?
The water is filled up to 900 millimeters.
Excellent, 900 milliliters. So the capacity of this container is 900 milliliters. Just like with grams, we'll mainly be skip counting by 100. When you see measuring cups like this, it's mainly skip counting by 100. And so you can just go backwards 100 from 1 liter. Let's try this out again. It says each marking on this measuring cup stands for another 100 milliliters. How much liquid is in this measuring cup? Who can tell me? Josiah?
700.
Perfect. 700. You can go from that 500 up to 100. That would be the easiest way to do it, I would say. Now, this is a small measuring cup. Look at this. We've got 100, 200, 300, but then there's some little lines in between the hundreds. So what are we skip counting by in this measuring cup? Emma?
50.
Correct. We're going to skip count by 50 because it takes 2 lines before you ever get to the next 100. That you'll see that pretty often in smaller measuring cups like this little one. Starts off at 50 and then it goes to 75 and then 100. So they're skip counting even by 25. Whereas bigger measuring cups skip count by 100 or 150. I mean, 100 or 50. Okay, one more over here. Here is a teeny tiny measuring cup. The most it can have is 100. And now you see a 50 there. So what does each little line stand for in this one? Alexander, what are we skip counting by?
Tens.
Excellent, tens. Do any of you have measuring cups at home for baking? Like little tiny ones. Maybe you've got like an eighth of a cup or 1/4 of a cup, it probably would be measured with jumping up by 10 milliliters if it has kind of some of those liquid measurements, because we would use that for the tiniest measurements. Skip count by 10s, a little bit bigger would skip count by 50s, and the biggest skip counts by 100. Okay, now let's practice that. Remember that the biggest ones are going to be skip counting by 100, the medium size skip count by 50, the smallest skip count by 10. Who can tell me the volume of number 1? Arshab, could you tell us that one?
$600 ml.
Perfect, 600 ml or 600 milliliters. Deekshita, can you tell us number 2? And I can draw the line a little bit more clearly. It's right here.
250 millimeters.
Good, 250 milliliters. Marcus, what about this little baby one over here? 1, 2, 3. It's 3 lines up. But what are we skip counting by with this little bitty one?
10
10, good.
milliliters.
So what is the volume of the water there?
30 millimeters.
Perfect. 30 milliliters. You got it. Okay, now let's look at this. You'll have some problems like this on your workbook pages. This is a big water jug completely filled with water, and we're trying to figure out the capacity of it. So it basically has a capacity of 1 liter plus 400 milliliters. Okay, joining them together. So we add those together. Could somebody find the capacity of the bucket here? We've got 1 liter plus how many milliliters? Add all of these together to see how many milliliters there are as well. Harika, could you tell me?
My dad's will come back in 3 more days.
Oh, that's so great, Marcus. I bet you're so excited to see him again.
My mom is going to switch with my dad. But at least I'll get steak.
Oh, that's a nice thing about having dad around. A good steak. That sounds tasty. Okay, looks like Harika is not there. Samhita, could you help me with this one? We've got 1 liter plus how many milliliters?
One second, I'm just trying to print your screen.
Yep, and let me zoom in as much as possible.
It has the capacity of 1 liter and 620, looks like.
Good job. That's right. 500 plus 100 plus 20. So 600 milliliters. Okay. Now, finally, the last part of what we're going to do is converting liters to milliliters and milliliters to liters. This is going to be basically exactly like what you did with the last 2 lessons. Remember that 2 liters equal 1,000 milliliters. And you can use the little shortcut of basically putting the 2 in the thousands place. Over here, if you already have milliliters, 8,725 milliliters, you take that 8 from the thousands place, and that's your liters. Okay. Let's do an example of each one of those problems on your notebook, and that's going to be the last part of our math lesson today. So, let's start with 2 liters, 370 milliliters. And we're going to convert that into just milliliters. Now, this is basically exactly like what we've been doing with meters and grams, right? How many of you feel like, oh, this is easy peasy to do it with liters? Because it's just the same as what we've been doing. Excellent. Take a moment to solve this. I'm not going to coach you through it much because the only thing that's different is that it's liters and milliliters, but it's the same as what we've been doing all week. Who figured out already how many milliliters it's equal to? Deekshita, could you help me out with this one?
Uh, 2,370 millimeters.
Good, 2,370 milliliters. Because that 2 liters equals 2,000.
Milliliters.
You got it. Okay, now let's do one that's the opposite. Taking some milliliters, converting it to milliliters in liters. Let's do 4,026 milliliters. Convert it to liters and milliliters. Okay, Kruthi, could you tell us your answer?
4 liters and 26 milliliters.
Perfect. 4 liters, 26 milliliters. I'm going through that pretty quickly because once you know the concept for metric system, it's so easy because it's always going to be 1,000, right? Just like if this was meters and millimeters, it would be the exact same way of converting. Or if it was grams and milligrams, same way of doing it. Or kilograms and grams. So that is all for your lesson today. Let's take a look at your workbook pages. I think you guys are going to have no problem with these. The only thing that would be possibly a little confusing is knowing exactly where they're showing the volume of these liquids. What I recommend, this is something that I've done before, draw a line from that liquid out to the side so that you can read it better. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, this is going to start on page 35. Page 35. Okay. Here is like 1 liter, 500 milliliters. These little ones are a little harder. The most it can be is 100 milliliters, which means we're going to skip count by 10. I'm going to find where the water is, the dark part of the water. Okay, don't measure from up here. This is like them showing the back of it so that it looks 3D. Find where the dark part is and draw your line out from that. Here's the dark part right there. Okay. That, I think, is going to really help you to look at where that dark part of the water is, because otherwise it looks like, for example, this one could be right there, but actually it's right here. for the volume of that one. Okay, so don't do the top part. That's going to get you the wrong answer. Find where the dark part of the water is. Okay, for these, you've got this capacity of container A. All you need to do is tell how much are both of these together. Same with this one. Container B is this amount of water. So tell what both of these are together. Container C is both of these plus this. And then we have some conversion practice, just like we've been doing with all of the other things. And this is a good little practice of how much each thing is. A little can of cranberry juice, would that be about 300 liters or 300 milliliters? Alexander?
Millimeters.
Good, milliliters. So I think you guys should be prepared for all of those workbook pages. Any questions about that? Okay, looks like one from Alexander and one from Ariansh.
So the question we just did, not kilometers, liters and liters. It's kind of obvious because there's like 1 liter and then 1 millimeter. So I'm like,
wait, 1
okay.
liter?
Yeah. I'm like,
yeah.
let me see.
Yeah, the
It's
whole
kinda
liter makes it pretty obvious when you've got just one of those filled to capacity. Okay, last question from Ariansh, and then we'll start some reading groups.
This is about Farmer Boy.
Okay, go ahead.
So I think chapter before the chapter called Surprise, when it said you accidentally said Alexander instead of Almanzo once. You said Alexander.
I believe it, because I sometimes call Alexander Almanzo for a second here. I mix up their names because I'm just thinking of the first part. Okay, last question from Josiah, and then just my reading group can stay. Everybody else have a wonderful afternoon.
Bye.
You can all come in if you need to. Bye.
Bye,
Yes,
Mr.
Maya.
See you later.
Have a surprise.
For history, do we have to print out the map?